All right, what's up, baseball fans? Hopefully your Saturday's off to a lovely start. Let's get right into it, my friend. We got plenty to talk about.
Let's get it. We got a nice slate. We got a day slate that already started. Andrew Heaney getting lit up. What else is new? So, yeah.
Izzy, how bad is it right now? Ooh, 4 runs already. Well, that's some Heaney stuff for you. As far as weather on this slate, doesn't really appear to be a very big deal. A couple of yellow spots, but other than that, seems like it's just fine.
Yeah, so the Mets game's actually during the day. So, not even one of them's actually we don't even have to worry about.
All right, pitching tonight. Definitely a day where I feel like you could make good arguments for a decent number of the guys up here. You know, early day projections have Yu Darvish and Brandon Woodruff coming in as really popular, but I don't know about you. I don't really love either of those guys today.
Yeah, me neither, man. I like Darvish. I know he hasn't been great. You were definitely right last time out, but he has shown buying signs lately. That said, at this ownership, give me Luis Garcia.
Sure, or your boy Urias. I don't mind Chuck Morton right below these guys either.
I also like Urias for sure.
Yeah, we've talked about Urias at length this year. When he's on, maybe not as good as a couple of other guys, but his upside is right there with plenty of the other really, really good starters in the game of baseball. The Angels lineup, not scary. We don't know which.
Yeah. No Ohtani because they're not having him play the field in LA, so that's a big boost. David Price, they're like 4 perfect innings before he got hit a little bit last night. Yeah, I like Urias a lot here.
Okay, you got me on board with it. I do kind of like Morton as well. I was kind of off this guy up until about 2 months ago, and he's been consistently good since then. Not a must or anything like that. He's maybe a little bit more than I would want to spend on him, but I just, I'm a huge Brandon Woodruff fan. I don't love the spot here against San Francisco. He's definitely regressed as far as DFS points go.
Yeah, why are we trying to pick on San Fran, I guess would be my question.
Right? I'm not. In a hitter's ballpark.
Like, they're good. I mean, now they added Brandon Belt's back and Chris Bryant. I mean, they were already very feisty, if, maybe more solid than spectacular. There's still not a lineup that has, tons of home runs, but we talk about that a lot. For opposing pitcher purposes, I mean, they're one of the toughest lineups to face, I feel like.
They are feisty as hell, man. Anybody cheaper today that you were looking at?
I will say you were right on with Cal Quantrill last night. He broke the slate. So I could see using Eli Morgan.
All right, up against Detroit. What are your I can see that. I
don't think he's
strikeout stuff.
I actually think Quantrill's better than him, which is saying a lot. So I don't think he's that good, but again, it's Detroit.
Okay, I can get that. He had a rough go of it last time out. I don't hate Brad Keller at 6,800 either. If you're trying to load up on quality bats, not a great pitch last time, and he left early. But that's at Toronto. That's a tough place to pitch.
Yeah, very tough. I mean, I don't hate it. I was looking at both pitchers in the Colorado game who were right around here as well.
Yeah, Austin Gomber. I'm a Gomber guy, but he had a bad outing last time. They pulled him after one start. He went through way too many pitches in the first inning. At San Diego is not an easy place to go at it. They're a lot better than the Marlins. I think everybody listening to that knows that. He's 6,600. Your boy Marquez was phenomenal last night. It's a price play, but we're not scared of Miami.
No, and I feel kind of similar about Luzardo. And I do think Colorado will be very popular tonight, especially after going off last night.
Yeah, they definitely went off last night. So similar. Again, Luzardo hadn't been around for a while, so it's tough to know what you're getting out of him. He was very mediocre last time out.
Yes. I mean, this is definitely I could see the Rockies crushing him, but I could also see him going 6 innings, striking out 9.
Can see it as well. So, excuse me.
Oh, the one guy we didn't mention at all that's looking like he's getting a little bit of love is Shane McClanahan.
Yeah, he's pitched very well.
It's tough for me to spend 8,500 on him.
I agree. He's not a monster pitch count guy. I think, mid-80s is more realistic what you can expect out of him. I feel good you get 15 points here, but, his upside starts 26 the other day against Boston. It's hard to anticipate that from him.
I agree. I agree. And I will say, going back to I mentioned at the beginning, Luis Garcia, he's expensive. He's not pulling in nearly the ownership as like what you mentioned, Woodruff and Darvish. He's coming off 2 subpar outings. That Seattle start, though, he still struck out. He made one big mistake to Kyle Seager, 3-run homer. He went from like 20 DK points in the win, potentially coming to 14. They pulled him right after that. I mean, it happens. That was a big mistake. And then tough spot. We just talked about San Francisco. Still struck out 7. Like, this Minnesota lineup is not good. I'm interested.
I get that. The much lower ownership. Like, you like Darvish more than I do, but that's been kind of habitual over the last month or two, right?
Yeah, exactly. I probably won't use Darvish here.
Yeah, and he's an interesting guy. Like, how long ago was that sticky substance talk? Like, it's been a couple of months now. He still had like a really dominant start, towards the end of June against the Dodgers. The upside's there, but you haven't seen it routinely. So, like, the ownership play on a Garcia or an Urias versus him is big.
Yeah, 100%.
And again, I told you guys I'm firmly solid about Charlie Morton. I expect about 20 here. Is it going to break the slate? No, but I've always been a Morton guy, and I've liked him a lot more the past 2 months or whatever it's been.
Yeah, I'm with that. And then one other guy I was like just looking at. If it were a smaller slate, I could get there more. Is Kim.
Yep,
Royals
me too.
Lineup just sucks. No Perez. I mean, Perez was scratched yesterday. He was not good in that Cleveland start, but he was chalky in that start, and he's not getting any love here. I love guys like that are like chalky, and then they get no love in a better spot. Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, I was with you. I was looking at Kim too. He's always interesting because he's got some starts where he just strikes out nobody, but a lot of times in those starts, he manages to go pretty deep into the game. So he can kind of counteract that. He's not a big upside guy. You're never really going to get 30 plus out of him. We've seen a 28 and a 25 in recent memory, and those are his upsides, in my opinion. Like, he's not a guy who's ever going to get you 35.
I completely agree.
So he's more, use the term more solid than spectacular. But at the end of the day, like, if he's the 3rd highest scoring pitcher today, that wouldn't flabbergast me at all.
I completely agree with that. I'm with you 100%.
Let's run through offense really quickly, and then what we'll do is just kind of reevaluate pitching and kind of shortlist it for everybody.
Yep.
We've gone through 8 or 9 guys you can look at, but we'll try to whittle it down to just a couple of them. First game, Tampa Bay against Baltimore. I'm not really trying to get to Baltimore bats. I'm sure I'm not alone on that one. But as far as going after Tampa Bay bats against Spencer Watkins, what is your thought on that? He had a couple of really nice starts, but it's come crashing down the last couple times out.
Does look like on this slate, because there's really good spend-up pitching options. A couple of the expensive offenses, Tampa, Cincinnati, the Dodgers, aren't getting as much love as you might expect. And I love slates like that, I love Tampa here. So they're expensive, but that just makes them harder to roster. We know how baseball goes. Like, the price tag at the end of the day, doesn't really matter in the sense that, like, guys often way overperform or way underperform their price tag.
Agreed. Probably not my top stack of the day, but definitely somebody I'm interested in.
Okay, I have no arguments. There's a couple others I like too, the ones I mentioned.
All right. Boston against Toronto. Surprise, surprise. Toronto goes off again last night.
This is a 7-inning game.
Okay. So that's going to make it harder to roster.
Plus good pitchers.
Right. Well, and then also, like, if you're looking at Toronto, who we always talk about, if they're winning this game, they only get 6 at-bats.
Exactly. I'd much more like to go to Boston, but they're facing the better pitcher in Barrios. And Houck has been really good. I mean, like, I don't know, a lot of slates, like, recently, I don't think he would be crazy at all.
I don't think Barrios is insane. There's another guy we kind of glossed over.
And I'll say this about Barrios. Like, he really struggled early in that start against KC. I mean, 2 hits in each of the first 2 innings, I believe. Like, and then he obviously cruised after that. I love seeing that.
So I don't want to pick on Boston, but
no JD, who's on the COVID IL, helps.
Yeah,
they might have a weaker lineup also because it's a doubleheader game.
The complete game shutout here is not unrealistic at all, especially if they're winning. Let them get out there for that last one and kind of run through the 7 innings, get them the complete game, save the bullpen for game 2.
For sure.
Or the other, yeah.
Well,
Not the
Yeah.
game. Yeah, you might have used it in game one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cincy against Pittsburgh. We got Gutierrez taking on Mitch Keller with that gaudy 7.05 ERA. You mentioned it early that you think Cincinnati's going to fly under the radar today due to price tags.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if flying under the radar is the correct term, because people realize they're in a good spot, but man, they're expensive. Winker, Votto, Moustakas is back, and he's real expensive.
Good Lord. Good googly moogly. They'll be really, really difficult to get to.
Yeah, which, makes me really interested in tournaments.
So, to boot, the Cincy stack is playing at home today with that really, really homer-friendly ballpark against a guy with a monster ERA, giving up a ton of runs. You do have some cheaper guys, Suarez and Castellanos is part of that. You might get a, Nick Naquin or something like that in the lineup today. So, I don't think you're going to get very many lineups that stack Winker, Votto, Moustakas.
I agree. It's really hard to do that. And Moustakas came back from a long absence last night, had multiple hits, at least 2 doubles. He's just a good hitter. 3 doubles. Yeah.
What do you think the percentage of the lineups today rostering Votto, Moustakas, and Winker is going to be? 0.1%?
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe more than that, but low.
Yeah, it's just really, really hard to make your roster that way. So that's a nice little low-owned way to go. I will mention that for you cash game players, Gregory Polanco is a guy who's getting a lot of projection love today for ownership because of his price. So just keep your mind on that.
Looks like Pittsburgh's getting even more love than Cincy because of their price tags. And that I love that for the Cincy side. But that Hoy Park probably leading off. Moran's supposed to be back tonight. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on their lineup.
All right. Next up, we got the Giants taking on my Milwaukee Brewers. Fun little walk-off win by Rowdy Tellez last night. So put me in a good mood.
He has been awesome.
Yeah, he has. Sometimes a change of scenery can mean a lot for people.
Well, he was getting very little playing time in Toronto. There was not much of a future there. Vlad obviously at first, and they just have so many good hitters. Tougher in an NL park, but Milwaukee needs his bat more than Toronto did.
Yeah, Vogelbach's been out for a while. Hira has been useless the entire season. He's had some nice big moments for Milwaukee over the past week. So
I feel like he's been better than any first baseman there all year in this stretch.
Probably. There's legit no arguments with that at all. All right. So I'm not looking to use Woodruff today, but I'm certainly not really trying to use San Fran bats.
I know I know you've always been an Eric Sanchez fan, so I'm interested to see how you feel here.
Well, he doesn't have a long leash, so you're only going a few innings. I can get on board with Milwaukee bats, but I'm certainly not trying to get here.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that.
It's more like, if Tyrone Taylor's in the lineup at 2,900 and you're trying to use those Cincinnati guys, he helps you make a lineup. He has upside, but that's about it for me.
Yeah, I get that. I have no arguments. I'm not really looking to stack them either.
No, I love Willy Adames. He's been great for Milwaukee. The odds of him at 5,300 being in my lineup, virtually zero.
Yeah, I'll say this. No one's going to stack them at this prices. People who are spending up are going to use Cincy and stuff. It's going to be a low percentage of people, but Milwaukee will be even lower than that.
Yeah, there won't be. So again, Rowdy Tellez would be the other one. We kind of mentioned him already. He's 2,900. So if you want to spend up on elite players today, he's got good power in his bat. He's had some nice moments, nice walk-off win for him yesterday with a big hit in extra innings. So if you like to ride that momentum, Tellez and Taylor, because of their price tags, are guys you could talk me into.
Most definitely.
All right. Next up, Detroit against Cleveland, Morgan against Alexander. Not the best pitchers in the world. So what are your thoughts on this game from an offensive perspective?
It does finally look like Detroit's going to be real low owned after what seems like weeks of being chalk. I hardly ever use Detroit. Can't see myself doing it here. Cleveland, I'm interested in, but they look like they're getting love, and I don't know. I guess I could see full stacking them and just going all out on them. I assume Reyes was out yesterday. I assume we'll have both Reyes and Ramirez back in there. It's a good spot, no doubt.
Makes sense. For me, I guess in this one, it's never about the specific hitters in this game. I get like, Badu if he's near the top of the lineup makes sense, but it would be more like I could almost play for all offense in this
Yeah.
game and just because there's a lot of moving parts in these lineups right now, right?
Yes, I agree. I have no arguments to that. Or if you wanted to just pick a side and go all in on, I could get on board with that too.
Yeah. Yeah, either side or complete or the full game.
Yes.
Like either way. Like I could see this game being 13-11. These are also two non-great baseball teams, so 2-1 wouldn't surprise me, but there's definitely potential for an offensive explosion in this game.
Yeah, I'm with that.
All right, the Twins against the Stros, Pineda against Garcia. We've kind of talked about Garcia. Not super interested in Minnesota. They're just not very good. I don't know. You can see again using Tucker or Brantley. I don't think I'm trying to pick on Pineda here, but I certainly would use the Houston Bats above him.
It does look like they're getting a ton of love at these prices. I mean, they're so cheap. You mentioned Brantley, Tucker. Correa is under 4K. Yeah.
Fade City for me then.
Yeah, same. Fade for me also. Hope Pineda pitches well.
He's had a weird career, but Michael Pineda is, he's far from a scrub.
Definitely far from a scrub, but he can have starts where he gets hit.
Yeah, he can. Got a couple of, over his, just looking through his game log alone, there's 2 negative starts where he got, we'll call it getting rocked, right? 5+ runs allowed, 12 hits the other day against the White Sox. That's obviously not good last month. But he's more solid than bad. So if Houston's chalk, I'll ride with him today. Not playing him, but I'll just assume he's going to be all right today.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel as well. So, yep.
All right. St. Louis against KC, Kim against Keller. We mentioned Brad Keller and Kim from the pitching perspective. If I was going to use bats here, it would be St. Louis, but the odds of me getting there just is not happening.
You never use St. Louis.
Rarely, right?
Yeah. I mean, just because of the pitchers on this slate and their prices, I think I am more on the St. Louis side than Keller's side. I don't think Keller's crazy, but there's just so many other pitchers I like, and St. Louis is really cheap.
Where Keller comes into play for me is if you're trying to get up to like those Cincy guys today. And I could also see like running, if you really love Cincy, kind of like we discussed, and you wanted to run the pitchers from this game, okay, I can see a pitcher's duel right here, but I'm not excited about either of them. And again, if it was from an offensive perspective, again, just like yesterday, St. Louis is really affordable.
Yeah, very affordable. So it's something.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was running one lineup today, though, I don't think I would really get to anything in this game. I think the pitchers would be honorable mentions, and the offense just wouldn't make it.
I have no arguments.
All right. Chuck Morton versus Mr. Gray here. How many pitches does he go these days? He's not quite fully stretched out like a complete starter, but he's more of like a 4 to 5 innings guy.
Yeah. Man, Atlanta at home is just, I like them. I liked them last night. They were good. That was the other team I used that was good. Yeah, I mean, Gray I respect, but he's not. Atlanta's lineup is just good right now.
They're missing Acuna, one of the best bats in the game, but they still have good players.
Yeah, and they added Soler, who's been hot, and Duvall. And those guys are much better than like Heredia and Almonte.
Agreed. No doubt about it. So is Atlanta a team that you're considering today then?
Yeah, I am. And Jack Peterson, too, who he's not the greatest in the world, but he's good for DFS. He's got power. Their outfield is completely revamped. And their infield is already good. Riley's having a great year. Swanson, Freeman, Albies. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in Atlanta. The more I talk about it, the more I like them. And they won't get any love with Houston and Colorado, projected to be chalky.
Makes sense. All right. Speaking of Colorado, we move over to the Miami versus Colorado game, Gomber versus Luzardo. So I like Gomber more than Luzardo today. But the flip side of that is just knowing based on the ownership, I kind of also like Miami bats over Colorado.
Yes. Gomber is much easier to like than Luzardo here because they're similar pitchers, similar-ish. Gomber's having the much better year. He's pitched in the majors all year. He's at home. He's facing a worse offense. So everyone who looks at this will be like, Gomber is the better play. not that Gomber's going to be chalky or anything, but I just completely agree with what you said. Like, that's why I'm kind of interested in both pitchers here.
Yeah, more than any other sport, we reiterate this on a daily basis, baseball ownership just is much more important than the other sports because of the discrepancy in the way point totals come out. And even though on paper, I probably like Colorado's offense a little bit more, if there's a 4-1 ownership perspective, I don't like them that much more.
Yeah, exactly, which I think there might be. I think both of these offenses are probably overowned, though. People really will have no hesitation to pick on Gomber. Miami's got cheap pieces all over. There's expensive pitchers they want to use. And Colorado's been good. So this is probably one of, kind of like Houston, I'll just fade it and hope pitchers pitch well. And I am interested in the pitchers at their price points.
Okay. I'm sure after the double bomb last night, Cron's going to get good love against the lefty.
They got Crone, Carrot
Rogers.
I mean, these guys are affordable.
Yeah, for sure. With this game log right here, too, Brendan Rodgers is coming in as one of the chalkier hitters out there. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Obviously, they never moved off of Trevor Story at the break. So you got him playing well right now against the lefty. I do think Colorado probably ends up being the most popular offense by.
Same. And he actually said Story was like, feeling a lot of pressure with the trade stuff. I mean, who knows how much of that is true, but that's what he said. And he's been really good since the deadline.
I mean, that makes sense. You get a little weight off your shoulders.
Exactly. And listen, that's what he said. So who am I to say it's not true,
I mean, I'll take him at his word. I have no reason to believe he's lying to me.
Right? He's been good since the deadline also. So I don't know. It makes sense.
Yeah. I saw when Blackmon homered last night. I'm like, man, I just kind of want him to retire. I want to remember the good Charlie Blackmon, and I don't want him to get into that Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols stage of his career where you're like, oh, you're so bad.
It happens in baseball, though, because these guys sign long contracts. They're getting paid a ton of money, and they just, age so quickly. Yeah, he sucks now. I mean, he homered yesterday, but, he is not good anymore.
I mean, it's crazy when you think about, the subtle difference it takes to be, an elite player. Because I know for some of the younger crowd, you guys probably don't even remember this. With, Pujols and Miggy, these guys were legit some of the greatest right-handed bats that the game of baseball has ever seen. And now they are pathetic. Watching them play is just, it hurts when you know how good they were. Albert Pujols is now 5-6 years removed from being really, really good. This guy was amazing for about a 9-year stretch there. He was the best player in baseball.
It's funny. I was watching some of the Dodgers game last night, and they're playing the Angels, the team that cut Pujols, and the Dodgers announcers he had a storied 10-year career with the Angels, nothing like his career with the Cardinals. And it was for me, and for a lot of people that remember him from the Cardinals, he was awful as an Angel. He wasn't, but compared to his days as a Cardinal, he was.
Yeah, guys. I know we have 18 and 19-year-old kids who watch the show and they can play in DK. Albert Pujols has been, like you said, been on the Angels since 2012. That's insane when I think about it. He had some years. He had 40 home runs in 2015. That's an impressive number. But when you rewind and look at his first 10 years with St. Louis, this is a guy who led the league in runs 5 times, led it in hits. It's hard to lead in hits when you also are right up there for walks every single season. Led the league in home runs multiple times with 30 plus in every other season. An RBI machine. Won MVP or was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Was top 2 in the MVP voting 5 of 7 years. I know it hasn't been there in a long time, but it is crazy just how good he was for a while.
Yeah, he was, like you said, one of the best. I mean, I know AJ Pierzynski was just asked who are the top, right-handed hitters you've seen, and he said Cabrera, Pujols, and Manny Ramirez, and that's exactly who I say too.
Right, and for our lifetime, obviously, and then Miggy, it's kind of the same thing. If you've only watched baseball the last 5 years, Miguel Cabrera has been awful. 2017 through right now, he's not a good baseball player. But when you rewind and look at this guy's career for the latter portions of the Florida, Miami, but then those years in Detroit, again, back-to-back MVPs, was top 5 MVP voting 5 straight years. Silver sluggers all over the place, and then he just hits that wall, and it's sad to watch.
Yeah, it definitely is very sad to watch. That's a good way to put it.
And Blackman was never as good as those guys, but for a few years there, he was amazing. And just it's sickening when you watch it now.
For DFS, especially too, because he ran a lot.
Yeah. Right? All right, let's get we got off subject for a little bit, but it's always fun to talk baseball. We got Darvish versus what is this? Widener or is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, I think so. Widener.
He is the guy who is way too expensive.
Yeah, he's way too expensive.
What about San Diego bets?
Yeah, I don't mind San Diego. I think they'll probably go under-owned here. Hard to like them as much with no Tatis, but they are cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, you got some decent bats in this lineup still. Nobody's Tatis, but, Frazier, Grisham, Myers, Pham, they're very affordable. Machado is really the only, expensive piece.
Yeah, he's the only expensive one. The rest of them are pretty cheap. I mean, not as exciting without Tatis, but yeah, like you said, they still have some good hitters, and they're not going to be high-owned at all.
I was going to say, that's what keeps their ownership low, because once you get Tatis out of there, who is the most exciting guy in baseball, and everybody wants to get him on their roster, the whole stack takes a real hit. Because if Tatis was in this game, I think they'd be one of the top 4 owned stacks.
I agree. I agree. Not like Colorado or Houston, but right after that. I'm with you.
Right? So I do think that makes them really, really interesting. And Taylor Widener is now, I think, 3 straight awful starts where he's given up 5 runs per. And this is Pittsburgh, Texas, and San Francisco's obviously a good baseball team, but
they could go off here. The more
I think so.
The more I like San Diego too.
They're definitely creeping up my sleeper stacks for the night.
There's been some that I know they've gone off multiple Saturday night slates also.
Okay.
And I'll say this: I know we're just going to glance past it, but a couple of these Arizona hitters have good numbers off Darvish, and he's given up a ton of home runs.
Ton of home runs.
Ketel Marte is 5-12 with a bomb, a couple steals. Asdrubal Cabrera is 9-24 with 2 steals, 3 bombs. David Peralta's 5-13 with 2 bombs. I'm not talking about a full stack, but Darvish is going to be chalky. Those guys are cheap. They've got power. All 3 of those guys I just mentioned.
So let's talk about this then, because you're a bigger Darvish fan than I am, and you're obviously a bigger Arizona fan than I am. I'm actually more team Arizona tonight than I am Darvish.
Yeah, they offer the biggest leverage of anyone. And I don't mean full stack them, but they were good last night. They scored 8 runs against Weathers. Marte was pretty good. He's their best hitter. He's back. That's what is funny. We were talking about it yesterday. The matchup was so much better for Weathers than Caleb Smith. All of a sudden, San Diego's definitely better than Arizona. But all of a sudden, you take out San Diego's best hitter in Tatis, and you put in Arizona's best hitter in Marte, and the gap is shortened a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. I could get on board with a couple of, with a chalky Darvish tonight, who I personally don't believe deserves to be chalky. And this is somebody who's been shitting on Arizona for months now.
I agree with that statement. I'm not saying I don't think he could pitch well, but he does not deserve to be chalky. And man, I remember Marquez hit a 430-foot home run last game off him. Marquez.
Right. Well, you were one of when the whole sticky substance stuff started coming out a couple months ago, you were kind of leading the charge on talking about it. And that doesn't mean that was Darvish's issue, but it's an odd coincidence that right when those talks started coming out is when his DFS game started dipping consistently.
Yeah, and also look at the matchups too. They have not been hard spots for him.
Colorado, Miami, Atlanta's good. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Washington's all right. Philly's all right, but you're right. He hasn't been going through, 5 starts against the Dodgers.
You'd expect at home against Colorado and in Miami to be 30s.
Right? I mean, I know you liked him more than I did last time out, but the masses loved him last time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And he'll get some strikeouts here and there because Colorado will strike out, but he got lit up. So, I have no interest in a chalky Darvish right here.
He was awful. He definitely got lit up.
All right. Urias versus Berea. The Dodgers are another team you could get me on here.
Same, man. I like the Dodgers too.
Late night hammer.
Berea's been good, but this is exactly the type of pitcher we've seen Berea in the past be good for a couple starts, and maybe he's good again tonight, but it could come crashing down. They've got a bad bullpen. Trey Turner will probably be in the lineup, so it does make things a little interesting there. The stack is tough, and they are expensive.
Well, now also you're stuck in this weird spot where Turner and Seager both only have shortstop eligibility.
Right.
So,
like, yeah.
Dodgers should come in very low owned today, right?
Very low owned. Last game, they got multiple guys, like 2 shortstops people want to use, which will cut into their ownership. Yeah. They're real expensive too. And the thing I'll say about, like, I do kind of like I like the ballpark better for Cincy and Tampa too, but the Dodgers are still just better than those teams, even Tampa.
Yeah, Dodgers are awesome. I like when we talk these out because it helps you kind of formulate your thoughts a little bit. I'm vibing on the West Coast teams today here. I'm liking San Diego and LA late, coming in with really, really low ownership. I get it. Colorado could easily go off in Coors, but that's a chance I'm willing to take today.
Yeah, I have no arguments with that at all. I like the Dodgers a lot too. I like the Padres we talked about. I do like the Braves, and I do like the Reds and Rays.
Okay, so there's a lot of teams to like, but gun to head, it is 1:33 p.m. Central Standard Time right now. If you were setting a lineup and you could only do one of them tonight, who is your main stack offensively? And obviously, we know you reserve the right to change this.
I love when you ask me these questions because it really makes me like
think about it.
Okay, so I want to I like all those offenses I talked about, but the one I think that I'll probably, if I were making right now, is Atlanta because they're the best combination of upside and price. Like, because I don't care about price, but I still have to be able to fit them. So you know what I mean? Like, I'll have no problem like rostering all the expensive guys from Cincy, but I have to have a couple of cheap pitchers that I like. Whereas if I like Atlanta just as much and I can use pitchers that I actually like, I'll go there. And Atlanta is much easier to get to.
Well, I think actually that kind of helps me with my answer then too, because you're going to go Atlanta, but I think I'll go San Diego because as much as I like the Dodgers, I have to actually be able to make a lineup. And I can make a lineup with Pham, Myers, Grisham, Frazier, and I can sneak Machado in there. It is hard to make a lineup with the Dodgers, and I might like them just a little bit more, but they're tough to stack. Betts is 64 if he's in the lineup. Taylor's 5,500. Trey Turner's 5,800. Like, that's just, it's very logistically hard to do.
No doubt. And that is why part of me, like, is interested in, like I talked about, you're interested in Keller. I'm kind of interested in the pitchers and cores because I'm already probably fading the offenses and cores. So if those offenses go off, I'm not going to win anyways. But if those pitchers pitch well, like, I mean, I feel like I'm a big leg up on the field. There are other cheap pitchers, though. Eli Morgan, I think, is in play.
Okay. Get that. I'm obviously a little bit more interested in Brad Keller than you are, which doesn't make me feel very comfortable just saying that even on air or anything like that. Kim, we kind of discussed. And then again, I think I feel very comfortable with Charlie Morton here. I think he's going to get the win tonight now that we've talked this through a little bit more. Not that I play for the win, but that helps the upside here a little bit.
I have no arguments with that. Like, ideally, I like Urias a lot. This Angels lineup is not good. I like the Morton call. If I roster, not you, but like if I roster Urias and Garcia, or you cannot roster like any of those expensive offenses.
Definitely. And you're going to have to get at least one of these cheaper guys. And trust me, when I start talking nice about Keller and you start talking nice about Eli Morgan, we are not thrilled and excited about these plays. So just to like make sure that we are very transparent with what our thoughts are. Like, you are not going to roster Eli Morgan tonight and be like, I feel great about this.
No, I'm definitely not. But I mean, yeah. Same with like the pitchers in the Colorado game.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. I know I like Keller more than you, so I won't include that in the question. But as far as Eli Morgan, Gomber, and Luzardo, if you could only roster one right now, do you know which one it would be?
I think Gomber.
Okay. I like guys like this that have been good all year. He has had no problems at home. He has actually been better in home games. He just had a terrible, terrible inning. I like guys to focus in after something like that. He threw 91 pitches against the Angels in the start before that, so he stretched out to go full length. he's a little bit more rested right now because he got pulled so early. So I am starting to like Gomber the more we talk about it.
Yeah, I'm all about it. You've been on him. You kind of put me on him earlier this year, so I assumed you would not be that hard to get on board with.
And also, according to a deep dive I've done in some of the research, it turns out the Marlins aren't good.
No, they're not, and they're still going to get love though because people will want to spend up on pitching, and they're really cheap.
Yeah, all right, man. I'm Gomber over Keller now for sure. So all right, definitely shortlisted for me because I can do like a Gomber. Let's just say Charlie Morton together. That puts me at 4,250 per offensive guy. Now, let's say I try to hone in on San Diego, for example. I'll even go with the more expensive guys. Let's go with Frazier, Machado, Cronenworth, and then grab like Myers and Pham. Like, this isn't even a challenge. Easy.
No, not even a little bit.
So, I mean, I could even sprinkle in a little LA Dodgers if I really wanted to.
That's what I was going to say too.
So, and then for you, it's going to be something similar, right? You can get up to Urias and then maybe go with Gomber, and you can still definitely get your Atlanta boys.
Yeah, definitely. Not sure you can get like all the Dodgers, but it's okay. I mean,
Dodgers are tough. They're really expensive.
Yeah, they're really expensive. Their whole lineup is so good right now.
Yeah, which is kind of why you're going Atlanta, and I'm maybe going to go San Diego. It's just easier to complete a lineup. I probably still like the Dodgers the best in theory, but also like I will give Berea some credit. He has pitched well. So
yeah, and I will say like the other ones that kind of that I actually like more than the Dodgers, better ballpark, etc. On the road, the Rays.
Yeah. I know they're missing a Rosarina, and that's not good because he's good, but that just helps them get a more affordable piece in there because Cruz and Meadows are expensive. But now you might get you get your Kiermaier, Margot, Luplow, etc.
Exactly. So, especially Kiermaier, I like because he never gets pinch hit for. Well, I don't want to say never, but he usually doesn't because of his defense.
Yeah, he's pretty good too. Like even though he's not a great hitter, like he can hit for power and he has a little speed as well.
He had a good game last night.
So okay. Well, guys, we went a little longer than normal, but I actually had a little free time for once, which is awesome. So we got to talk some sports, and good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot, guys.